All right? Okay, you'll see those of us who came in from Sacramento are wearing shirts, Bullying Breaks Hearts. There is a horrible impact on the human circulatory system when they are under long-term stress. And the majority of us hang in with workplace bullying situations for a long time because finding a new job is not easy. Because though we are ourselves animal creatures, that's redundant, we're animals, we cannot practice fight or flight in the workplace. We will be charged with assault if we fight, and we will be charged with abandonment of our job if we take flight. We just stand there and we take it. And some of us do go home and kill ourselves. We're considered to be mentally unbalanced when we do that. And some of us go into the workplace and shoot up the bad guys. And we're considered to be more than mentally unbalanced. We're homicidal maniacs. And we get sicker and sicker because of this. And we're polluting our culture. And we as Americans are standing by, and we are letting this happen. And we are saying almost nothing about it. We do focus on those poor, blessed children who've been bullied at school and go home. Under the age of 18, if you hang yourself, someone might take notice of it. It's made very quiet at the adult level. Those bullies leave the schoolhouse door, go into the workplace, and continue those behaviors. They ratchet up a notch. They turn it from overt, punching you out in the hallway, to covert, punching you out with wage theft. You worked overtime and you didn't get paid. It becomes very, very sneaky, and the stakes get higher and higher and higher. I've been working in this movement since I left the schoolhouse door as a terribly traumatized school teacher in 1995. The perpetrator was the school superintendent. He stalked me on the job for 10 months. I'd never been written up in any of the school districts in any of the states, never a bad letter. I loved teaching. I was managing a program for immigrant kids to learn English on a shoestring budget. That in itself made me somewhat of a target because it was pretty unpopular days of Proposition 157. But this man came in, and within 10 months, he bled that school district dry of funds. And when it was found out what he had done to me, he was told to go into his office and find a new job. And he was able to live out his contract because he had a $200,000 buyout clause. We're seeing this in city governments, hospital management, school management. We're seeing it pervasive in our society because the hedge hunters expunge the records of people like Alvarez, who came from San Antonio. And they don't talk about it. They just say, here's a good man, hire him, give me my $50,000 finder fee. Okay, that's what's going on out there. This man left my school district. Now, 5 years after my injury, and my injury constituted this when I'm under stress. Okay, this happens to this very day. I'm wildly spastic on the right side. I've been diagnosed with a neurological condition called myoclonus. It's not uncommon for people with shell shock like myself. But anyway, this man, his record was covered up by the school district. They didn't report it to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. And until I met Kathy Carroll, a whistleblower in the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, I wouldn't have known that they would have covered it up too. And in fact, when several years later he went on to Hillmar School District, and by the way, I have no hush clause. I held out 7 years for no hush clause, so I was able to talk about this. And the hush clauses that come with public employment need to be legislated out. Those are public monies. I was awarded a measly $150,000 in workers' comp, and I say measly because that's nothing compared to my career, but it's a whole lot more than a whole lot of other people get when they are destroyed in the workplace. So I feel blessed in that respect. He went on to Hillmar, and he did it again because he wasn't reported to the commission. It took him about 10 months to destroy a woman there. She then suffers with panic disorder. She got a restraining order against him, and by then, those teachers had found me, and they subpoenaed me to be a witness. When he saw my name on the docket, he made a side deal with her, that every time he would come on their campus, where this particular individual was, they would report blue code or code blue on the loudspeakers so everybody could lock down their doors against the superintendent of public schools. So he would not harass teachers. I thought this man was going to kill me. I really did. He shook me down in district office hallway. I thought he was going to punch out these teeth. And I'm kind of attached to him. I've had him 61 years. They're precious to me. But I thought he was going to hit me in the mouth because the way he stood over me, he was a great big guy, and I'm not overly large. And I really thought he was going to hit me. And he had already stalked me on the job. You see, I knew enough to put this guy in jail. I just didn't know who to tell, who would care. And at that time, I didn't know a Californian could report directly to a district attorney. You know, this was 95. It was before the days of internet. Now, these are my excuses, but I was also very, very busy teaching high school English to immigrant kids. I may not have researched it anyway, and I was blindsided by this. I'd never been reprimanded on the job before. You know, I've never had a speeding ticket, you know. I'm kind of a goody two-shoes, which is why, just like Sarah said, I would do it again. I have to look at myself in the mirror. And I knew that he was pilfering money. He was misappropriating funds from one use to another. You know, this country is full of a lot of people with very, very expensive briefcases that they buy on public monies with gold imprints of their initials. I've heard about that over and over again. I joined up with the doctors, Gary and Ruth Namey, at the Workplace Bullying Institute when it was still the Work Doctors. And they started the Workplace Bullying Institute. From there, they were able to get Assembly Bill 1582 way back in 2003. And we started running it through the offices, and things were looking good. And then rolling blackouts came, and the biggest bully in the United States, born in Austria, came over and became our governor. And the people in the Capitol building said, we can't run a bully bill through here with the biggest bully in the United States right there in the governor's office. So that bill was dropped out of committee at that time. Well, you know, I've been working with the Institute. My co-founder of the California Healthy Workplace Advocates, Michelle Smith, and I got together, and we formed a little group of people in '04, and we started meeting on a monthly basis in Sacramento, and our goal, our mission, is to create public awareness and to get this bill into the legislature. And what this bill really boils down to is if somebody runs at you for whatever reason, because you're a low-level whistleblower like I was, or because you knew too much like I did, even if you didn't have a chance to pucker up and blow, you would have some recourse if you were targeted and damaged. And a lot of our whistleblower protection is very infantile in the United States. It only dates back to 1994, right about then. I think it is the year. And it's called false claims against the government. Well, in order for an attorney to take forward a $100,000 case, that in this kind of legislation, that'd be a minimum. It'd probably go a whole lot farther than that by the time you go through 10 years of litigation and appeals. You better be whistleblowing about millions of dollars. Millions. Because if you're not, you're probably going to have a pretty hard time getting attorney representation. And there are a lot of us who see things going on in the workplace that we know aren't right, but we're never privy to the data. And if we are privy to the data, because we might possibly be working in management information systems or have some advanced technological knowledge, you better watch out, because your head could be on the chopping block. And if they were ever to terminate you, those are the jobs. You pick up your purse and you walk to the door with people on either side of you watching you get in your car and drive away, and you're told you will get criminal trespass charges if you ever step foot in the parking lot, because they're covering up information. And a lot of us need to stop and think. When we look at these bullying cases, there are usually two reasons for it. One is the target is outperforming and making everybody look bad because they're doing a really good job and they don't want the bar set that high. Or follow the money, because there's some government contract somewhere, there's some money that's being pilfered, there's some misappropriation going. And if you're ethical, if you're outspoken, if you're knowledgeable, if you have good people skills, you are the profile of a target. Well, that sounds like virtually every school teacher, every nurse, every government worker, every transit worker. That sounds like the Americans I know and love. That's what we are. And now that we're getting to a point where we do have technology, we're starting to meet each other. And now that we have the point of technology, we're starting to be able to ferret out information and find each other. The California Healthy Workplace Advocates have been cloned in 30 states. Sometimes they use the Healthy Workplace Advocates moniker, sometimes not. All with the goal of getting this bill passed. We now have 10 bills actively running in 8 states. The 2 states that have 2 bills have one in the upper house and the lower house. The state of Massachusetts just brought this bill back for the 2nd time. 39 co-sponsors. Those people are going to get this done. They're sitting out there on the East Coast and saying, you know, a bunch of bankers brought this country down and you didn't listen to the whistleblowers and nobody went to jail. How come nobody get any punishment for this? California Healthy Workplace Advocates got behind Senator Yee's bill for whistleblowers. And that was this recent bill. It was to improve the whistleblower protection in California. And it was to expose the perpetrator when it had been validated that that perpetrator had really done something wrong. And that bill was squashed in both the Senate and the Assembly by the lead party, the Democrats. Okay? Now, we know that when we get this bill going forward, it's a line item. We know that the Repubs are going to say no because the business people don't want any more litigation in the workplace, even though it's already going on. And we know that the Dems are more likely to vote for it, but we're having trouble with the Democrats who are squashing it. We got it through the Illinois Senate, we got it through the New York Senate, and it died in the lower houses controlled by Democrats, by Democratic leadership. So they don't always want the truth out because, as we said, they eat lunch with the perpetrators, they go golfing with them, you know, they buy them a beer at the conference and this sort of stuff. So, I mean, you know, a lot of that's the old boy ceiling. Now, one of the things that we run into frequently are legislators who are ignorant of the law. And unless they practice employment law, they probably think there's already a law against harassment. Well, there isn't. It is perfectly legal to harass a human being in the American workplace as long as you're not doing it because they're a member of a protected class and you're practicing discrimination. So if you want to really damage an American, you go to that American's workplace and you hammer them because you can do it with impunity. There's no law against traumatizing a human being in a workplace. I know people who have seen war and come out intact, and they've gone to work in America and they've come out damaged. Now that's sick, and we need to stop that. San Francisco's legislators are Tom Amiano in the Assembly, Mark Leno and Leland Yee in the Senate, I'm probably missing somebody. Those people need phone calls. Why aren't you passing? You call it what you want. They know what it is. They know who we are. Okay? Call it the anti-workplace bullying bill. Call it the abusive work environments bill. Call it the workplace bullying bill. They know what we're talking about. You know, I did one of those running backwards lobby numbers with Jerry Brown about workplace bullying, and he said, "What's that?" It's like, you don't know Moonbeam? Come on, give me a break. you know, it is repeated, health-harming mistreatment that disrupts the flow of work. It costs money. It ruins lives. It destroys families. It kills mortgages. It brings down cities. It destroys nations, South Korea. So we can do something about this. Telephone them, write them snail mail letters, hit them with emails, just tell them. We will get there. Our state is scared because of our economic situation and the nonsense about businesses being driven out of the state of California. They're going to close all the McDonald's, gee. You know, but we will get there. It's taking time for our nation to grow up and act like the kindergartners that we were taught to be, because they taught us this in kindergarten. And down we forgot as up we grew. So anyway, again, I thank you all for being here, and I thank all you whistleblowers.